Welcome to Backstage with Richard Ridge. You know my guest from such musicals as his Tony-nominated turns in Mary Poppins and SpongeBob SquarePants, along with Les Mis, and most recently in Stephen Sondheim's Old Friends. Well, he's just stepped into the role of Scar in Disney's global phenomenon, The Lion King, which is now in its 27th year on Broadway. Please welcome Gavin Lee. So you're back on Broadway.
I am.
As Scar in The Lion King. How excited are you?
Oh my gosh. I was putting this role out into the world 5, 6, 7 years ago. Just telling the right people, oh, that'd be my next role. That would be great. That would be great. And then the people at Disney knew if ever the role came up, Gavin Lee is on the list. He's told us he wants to be seen. So, and then finally last September, the role was coming up for this past March, and I got seen first of all in London because I was doing the Les Mis arena tour, and we were in England, so I shot down to London and met some of the London creatives, and then got a call back in New York and in December, and had to wait till July till I was rehearsing the show, and this is my third week of performing, and it's just every day I get more and more settled into the role, and it's becoming me, I'm becoming him. It's just fabulous.
Okay, so tell me about that first day when you're all done up in that beautiful costume.
Well, I was surprised on day one. Rufus, our fabulous director in the building, was like, oh, you're in costume day one. It was a rehearsal costume, but after 27 years, they've got spare Scar costumes somewhere, And I couldn't believe the layers. Yeah. It takes 5 minutes with your dresser, the sound department, and the mask department to get you dressed. And you've got a big old stick as well, and you've got these levers in your hand to make the mask work. And it's, that first week, it was all about your physicality and when the mask is important. What line do we want this mask to go in young Simba's face? And my first rehearsals were in the lobby of the Minskoff Theatre, so I had this fabulous view of Times Square, but then they put loads of mirrors in front of that, so they're very kind. They have mirrors in the theatre that they can put up. So then I just spent hours working on positions with Rufus, the director, just finding how low, and in a way, even though he's a lion, how snake-like he is, how slimy he is, how lazy he is in the first few scenes. That's what, as I was learning the stuff, Rufus said, less at the beginning. You're lazy, you've given up, you're not going to be the king, you sit in your cave all day. And as a very energetic, physical actor, I find it hard to just do, oh, so you just want me to say the line like this? It felt like nothing. But now that I'm in the show and I realize his arc of his story, it's only when he gets the idea to kill Mufasa and use Simba that suddenly something ignites in Scar that, oh, I could be king. And just discovering all that, it just takes a time. Yeah. I didn't realize I would need the 4 weeks rehearsal. When they said, you've got 4 weeks rehearsal, I was like, only me going into the show. It's like, I don't need 4 weeks. I did need 4 weeks. By the time I went in, I was really prepared, be prepared. And I'm so glad I had those 4 weeks with that costume and that mask. And then the other actors coming in later on in the rehearsal period, it was just all been brilliant.
So let's talk about that first performance.
Yeah.
With an audience.
Yeah.
What do you remember?
I remember coming off from the first 2 scenes thinking, that was too much. Because the adrenaline is like, you're just saying the lines, and you're just being too huge. It was great to have the audience and hear reactions and know that, oh, I'm going to work on that line and get a reaction from them. I'm going to get a laugh. I'm going to get Scar, I'm saying it's a physical role, but it's not a physical role like the dancing roles that I've done where you then pull your hamstring or injure yourself because you've just kicked your leg or span and fall over. This is physical in a constant character way, but not a strenuous way.
Yeah. Well, speaking of that, this is your third Disney show.
It is.
Okay, you were Olivier and Tony nominated for playing Bert in Mary Poppins, and you play Lumiere in A Beauty and the Beast of London Palladium.
Yeah.
What's it like being a part of a Disney family?
I'm just #blessed. I'm so lucky. My experience with Mary Poppins was so amazing. To be given a role to create from scratch. I mean, of course, Dick Van Dyke will always be Bert, but from scratch for the very first stage production of Mary Poppins in London, to then get invited to open it on Broadway, to then get invited to open the national tour. That was 8 years of my life. The reason I'm sitting here now, the reason I still live in the New York area is because of Disney and Mary Poppins. And it was such a great experience. I never thought I would get that experience again. And then to get offered Lumiere in Disney's brand new production of Beauty and the Beast, which is now just started its fabulous US tour, to again create from scratch a new version of Lumiere. You know, this is the first time Lumiere's danced and tap danced in Be Our Guest. And I like to think that's because I got cast, that Matt West was like, oh, let's add tap shoes to this candlestick. But to be able to create those two roles and be looked after very well by Disney, and then to get this role, and this is very different. I'm stepping in to a 27-year-old show. So anything I want, and everyone around me was very nice, like, tell us if there are any problems. Tell us if this doesn't work for you. But you're always aware that you might be the 200th star around the world that's got the role of Scar after 27 years. So they are open to mold the character to the actor. But I knew going into this one, it was different than Bert and Lumiere. I wasn't in the rehearsal room from day one. So just get in the show. Don't get in anyone's way.
These are big physical roles you've had. You know, going back to Bert, as I look at the proscenium from the upstairs New Amsterdam Theater out here on the rooftop, you were very physical in Mary Poppins, tap dancing, stopping the show, every performance, tap dancing all the way up and around the proscenium in step and time.
Yeah.
Okay. Magical, scary, combination of both?
When I first had my first flying session for Bert, where, as you say, here's the proscenium arch, I was on wires, but I'd walk to the wall, flip upside down, tap dance, walk down the other side. That first day, I got that high. I got about 6 foot, facing upwards, going, that's enough for the day. And so do your confidence builds up. And the worst part of Bert, the whole scariness was, this walk was fine because you were looking up. So you didn't see how far you were going. It was when you had to step onto this platform upside down, and then the weight of the harness and the wire, it shifted, and suddenly you were like, oh, this harness is stopping me from falling to my death. Whereas when you were just being pulled, but that was like, and people after 6-7 years of playing the role at stage door would go, was that really scary? And of course it wasn't after 6 years. You get used to anything. But I used to say, originally, yes, I was really scared, but now it's just part of my show. But that walk around, and having done flying, when we got to the Scar, because the Scar's on the big skywalk, and of course he falls backwards on wires and falls down to the stage. So again, you're not seeing where you're going, but you're trying to look like you're falling. We are falling to your death. I wasn't scared at all, because I just clicked into, I've hung upside down and tap danced higher than this. So, and also is that thing of the guys that are controlling the ropes have been doing it for many, many years. They know what they're doing. They're not going to let me fall. So that was absolutely fine for me.
So you learned from one to the other.
Yeah.
But seriously, you and Mary Poppins doing Step in Time was one of the most magical things I've ever seen in the 55 years I've been going to Broadway shows.
I mean, it's one thing to originate a role, like, you know, really it's just been Bert and then Squidward in SpongeBob to originate something from the beginning, and have the choreographers and the directors see what they've got and then use your skills, you know. So for them to go, he's a good tap dancer, what can we do in Step in Time? We can have him springing from chimney to chimney. No, someone came up with let's have him walk around the whole thing. And you go, I helped create that. And the same with SpongeBob, you know, Squidward had 4 legs, so he's got 4 tap shoes. And Chris Catelli, the fabulous choreographer, was like, go into a room on your own with the mirrors and work something out, because he didn't know how to tap dance with 4 tap shoes on. And so he came in and saw what I did, and then he adapted it, made it better. And it's just great to almost have those legacies, have those things that I'm at the stage door now, and people say, I saw you as Bert, I saw you tap dance upside down. That's the thing they remember. How cool is that, 20 years on, that people saw Mary Poppins? I'm sure they remember many things about it, like the way Mary flew out into the audience at the end. But one of their highlights, certainly when they see my face, was, I saw you tap dance upside down, you know, so.
Well, let's go back to SpongeBob for a second. Tap dancing with 4 legs. I would think that would make it a little easier to put a scar costume on, and with the head and everything else, realizing you want to tap dance with 4 legs.
Isn't it weird? It's the SpongeBob costume there was a lot of clips, Velcro, hooks, to really keep it tight around your hips, so those 2 fake legs weren't wobbling around like fat fake legs. You know, we wanted them to look as sturdy as my skinny old legs. And so to then put the Scar costume on, again, there's a lot around the waist, because this is also fabulous, and there's a tiny little lever here. The closest thing to because the Scar costume, it all comes up here to go over your head mount, with a chin strap, and then the wig on top, and then the big thing with the mask. This very much was like when I did The Grinch at Madison Square Garden. That costume was very much all you really had of skin showing was your face with a lot of makeup on, which was, The Grinch is exactly the same as Scar, as in the costume. So I've done quite a few roles where you got to get used to the costume. And then hopefully you let go of that and you become a character, and it's not all like, oh, what do I look like in this costume? Yeah.
Old friends, because you literally knew you were going into this. You just finished up your run, literally moving from theater to theater.
Oh, I mean, that's very rarely happened in my career, that you finish a job and that next job you're already in rehearsal. I overlapped by 1 week. And
how much fun was Old Friends?
Oh my gosh. I was worried when we came to New York, because the London experience, you know, we played for 4 months in London with such an amazing ensemble cast led by Lea Salonga, Bernadette Peters, who were just amazing people. And it was such a great tribute to him, with great British actors that I had worked a lot with 20 years ago. So we were kind of like Cameron McIntosh family. So then only Bernadette, Lea, and 5 of us were asked to come to New York. And so you always worry that, that gem of a show we had isn't going to be the same. But within 2 days of rehearsal, we knew that the 11 new New York actors were just as brilliant as the London cast. And it was great that we rehearsed here, but then we went to LA to open. So those 6-7 weeks in LA, we all bonded and became that group that we had in London. Came back to New York and just had a fabulous run where the audiences were just lapping it up. I'm such a Sondheim fan. I'd never done a Sondheim show before. So to then get to be in this one where I got to do all the Sondheim shows, all the songs that I'd sung in my teen and 20s years on the CDs, just listening to him singing along. Then I got to do it all. It was just amazing.
Yeah. Lion King is 27 years on Broadway. Why do people fly in from all over the world, generation after generation, to see this show?
Well, I think anything that lasts over a decade, then everyone, the word has spread that it must be brilliant, otherwise it's not lasting that long. And just the visuals of the show, you know, any poster, any B-roll, you know, commercial for the show, they pack so much into it without giving it all away that it's such a feast on the eyes. Of course, you've got the iconic movie, and one of the best things about the Broadway show is there's an announcement before the show telling you to turn off your cell phones, but it says we'd also like to extend a special welcome to anyone in the audience that is coming to Broadway for their very first time. And we hope that it starts a lifelong love of Broadway. And as they say that, every night the audience cheers. And so you're like, oh, there's 20, 30, 40% of the audience, they've picked Lion King as their very first Broadway show because they know it's 27 years. They know it's brilliant, even though they haven't seen it. Otherwise, it wouldn't still be on. And the word of mouth. And, my cousin saw it, my mum saw it. And so it's such a joy to be in the original production of The Lion King. It's on Times Square, so I walk to work. Sometimes it's annoying to have to walk through Times Square with all the tourists, but there's still this buzz of Times Square. There's my theatre, walk into stage door. I'm in The Lion King playing Scar. Doesn't get better than that.